This is the second video covering activity 1.1. We continue on, I believe it's page 2 of your handout, problem 1, letter E. And we're given some words and we're asked to draw on the graph what's represented by the words. So it says, Marty jogs around the track for a while at a constant rate of speed, stops to talk to someone for a few minutes, and then resumes jogging at the same rate as before. Okay, so the first part, he jogs around the track for a while at a constant rate of speed. The constant rate means it's a straight line and it's going to be increasing. So my line might look something like this, right? It's rising from left to right. It's a straight line. Then the second part, Marty stops to talk to someone for a few minutes. Well, if Marty stops to talk to someone, his total distance is not going to increase. It's not going to decrease. So we'd have a horizontal line that might look something like this. Okay, so Marty jogs for a while, then stops. And then the last part, then resumes jogging at the same rate as before. And this would be the last line. And I notice the steepness of my first and third line should be the same because we're jogging at the same rate as before. Right? So I jog, stop, jog again. So let's look at part 2. It says this graph tells another story of Marty's jog. But now notice the labels have changed. Right? We've been talking or dealing with total distance for our horizontal axis. For our vertical axis. In this next problem, they changed the label to say speed. Okay, so let's see how that changes things up. All right, so on this graph, the horizontal axis is labeled time in minutes with the vertical axis as speed. So in the beginning, you can see that we're running at a constant speed, and then eventually we slow down until we stop. All right, so maybe I'm running at 5 miles an hour, and then eventually I slow my speed down to 4 miles, 3, 2, 1, and eventually I stop. Now you might say, hey, Mike, I thought in one of the previous videos we said that this line is never allowed to decrease. Well, remember, that was when this said total distance. Our total distance couldn't decrease. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Somewhere, bear with me. Here we go, right? Part D, right? The total distance was not allowed to decrease, right? Because we just add up our distance to get a cumulative distance, right? So total distance is not allowed to decrease, but the speed, yeah, we're allowed to decrease our speed, okay? So if we look at problem 2, okay, suppose this graph is also about Marty's jog. Fill in the blanks to describe how this situation is different from the one in the previous example. Well, here it looks like Marty's speed is just increasing, right? As time gets larger, his speed gets larger. Right, so I just wrote the word increased in the blank. On problem B, they want us to draw a line, I guess, on the axis that tells a story. Marty remains or maintains the same rate of speed for his entire jog. Right, so this maintains is a big deal. So that means the speed is not going up, it's not going down, so it's a horizontal line. Let's see if I could draw a better line. So here's my horizontal line. Part C says, fill in the blanks. So during the course of Marty's jog, he steadily decreases his rate of speed. So I'll just fill in the blank with decreased. Okay, let's look at part D. So here we are given a graph, and we're asked to write a story about what the graph is telling us. So maybe on this first segment, you could say, Marty runs around the track while increasing his speed at a constant rate. Right, so Marty runs around the track while increasing his speed at a constant rate, first part. Second part, Marty runs at a constant rate of speed. Right, so this straight line would be Marty running at a constant rate of speed. And then finally, Marty decreases his speed at a constant rate. And this last sentence covers the declining line, right? The decreasing line, right? Marty's decreasing his speed at a constant rate. And again, I say constant rate, that guarantees that we have a straight line, okay? For part E, it says maybe we should write a story that describes what's happening here. So notice how the axis has changed now. Now the horizontal axis is distance from your car. So it looks like you start out in your car, you walk toward the library, you stop, you go back to your car, you stop, and then you go to the library at a quicker pace. So let's write that down. Okay, so for this first line, I'm going to say I walk from my car toward the library at a constant rate, right? So my distance from my car should be increasing, right? As I walk further away from my car, my distance will increase. Now, the second line, is the distance from my car is not increasing, it's not decreasing, so that means I must stop, right? For this horizontal line, I must be stopped because my distance doesn't change, right? It doesn't go up, doesn't go down. So I wrote, I stop for a few moments. Maybe I'm looking for my keys, my library card, my ID. For some reason, I have to stop. Then the third line, it looks like I go back to my car. So maybe I realize I left my iPhone at the car and I got to go back, or I left my wallet or my ID. Whatever the reason, I went back to my car. Okay, so I'm just going to write, I walk back toward my car at a constant rate of speed. Now, this last line, it doesn't look like it, but this line that's on the axis means I spend a little bit of time in my car. Maybe I'm looking in the glove compartment for my wallet, or I dropped my phone behind the seat. Whatever the case may be, I stop. My distance from my car is 0 here, and it's not going up, it's not going down, so I spend a little bit of time in my car. I just wrote, I spend a few moments at rest in my car. Now, the last line, it looks like I go all the way to the library. I walk from my car to the library at a constant rate, and you could even say at a faster pace, right? Because this line is steeper than my original line. So I just wrote, I walk to the library at a faster, constant rate. Right? My rate is a little bit faster than the first line. So I think that's going to do it for this video. Look for part 3, where we will cover quantitative graphs, right? So everything we've done so far has been qualitative graphs, where we didn't have any numbers on the axis. And in part 3, we're going to add numbers, right? So here we can quantify the values. Okay, thanks for watching.